Now at 9, how Crowder College in Neosho, Missouri plans to use a $1.4 million donation. Plus, a Joplin business owner is on a mission to beautify a historic street, and how a nonprofit is giving local veterans a chance to fly again.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Dow Quick. The engineering technology program at Neosho's Crowder College gets a boost from a 7-figure gift. In a ceremony this afternoon, the college received a $1.4 million gift from the estate of Greta Mitzi Rennick, a retired General Dynamics employee who died in March at age 94. The college president says it's among the largest individual gifts in the college's 60-year history. Among other things, it'll allow Crowder to endow a new faculty position in engineering technology. Earnings from a portion of the money will fund that position perpetually. A portion will also support an annual academy.
We're going to help students through the President's Leadership Academy. We take 20 students a year. It's a 2-year program. We're going to take those students and be able to provide some activities that normally just would not happen otherwise.
Earnings from the fund will also pay for construction of a press box and other improvements at Rough Riders softball field. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Well, it turned out to be a decent day for us today. We did have a few light scattered showers out there during the morning hours like we've had over the past couple days, but the evening has been fantastic. 85 for a high, normal high is 90 for this time of the year. And we still have a couple little tiny showers in our southern counties. Besides that, we're going to be dry tonight, but we are tracking this complex starting to develop out across northwestern Kansas that is going to drop south and east. And at least some of that could get into the region by the time we head into the daytime hours tomorrow. All right, upper 70s right now. We're going to drop back eventually to about 67 degrees, a few random showers in the morning hours, but a bigger batch of rain will affect us tomorrow night. We're going to break that down for you here in just a bit.
One man is dead and a woman is in the hospital after a single car crash in Joplin. Happened yesterday evening. Authorities say the car was driving south on South Jackson Avenue when it went off the road, overturned, and ejected 31-year-old Christopher Colon of Joplin. He died at the scene. A passenger, 27-year-old Crystal Kenny of Everton, Missouri, suffered serious injuries. Authorities say speed and alcohol appear to be factors in that crash. An Eagle Rock, Missouri man has died in a single vehicle crash. It happened around 6 last night on Missouri 86, about a mile south of Eagle Rock. A pickup went off the road, hit an embankment, then a tree, and overturned. The driver, 53-year-old James Reardon, died at the scene. You might notice a bit more color on a historic Joplin street these days. Inspired by a St. Louis suburb initiative, a Joplin greenhouse started a project to beautify the city by adding flowers to West 7th Street. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has that story.
In April, Albert Ferris decided to bring more color and life to the surrounding area of his greenhouse. He mixed business with pleasure and partnered with other local stores and with the city of Joplin to put 7 planters on the historic Route 66.
And it's turned out really well. Makes it look a little more like a neighborhood. Just kind of makes a sense of community. And I thought maybe, well, you never know what's going to happen if you do one little good thing. Maybe something else will happen. Maybe somebody else will get excited and do something on their end of town.
It beautifies the whole area. It beautifies the street, the neighborhood. It just gives you a smile when you go by it. Makes them look a little more human.
The idea is simple but effective. The nursery sells a pot to the business and offers them the soil and the flowers free of charge. Scott Smith, owner of an auto glass on West 7th Street, says his wife promised to water the flowers weekly if he would join the project.
As a local business, whenever you get the opportunity to beautify your area that you're working in, it's a great opportunity to do so. When you pull in, you don't see just grass and different stuff. So you got some flowers and different things to keep your mind up with the different colors.
Around 6 little vases of Supertunia like this one are enough to have a planter as big as this one.
It's a sign of life. It just makes a place look like it's flourishing, to have beautiful, vibrant, flourishing flowers.
It's always important to uplift people's spirits, and a few little flowers can just do it. It's never going to put a frown on your face.
In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Project started in April, and Albert hopes the super petunias will still be blooming on Thanksgiving. Next year it continues. Flowers are going to be planted and replanted at no charge to businesses in that area. 3 local veterans got a chance to take to the skies in a World War II era biplane. Nonprofit Dream Flights hosted the trip for 3 veterans living at medical lodges in Columbus, Kansas. 19-year-old Louis Ikeda, 74-year-old Ivan Queen, and 75-year-old Morgan Davidson. Flights took off from Pittsburgh's Atkinson Municipal Airport and lasted about 20 minutes.
Give them life back. Most of them are in assisted living facilities, and they're bound within the walls of that facility for many years. And so being able to thank them for their service and give back in any way that we can.
Dream Flights was founded in 2011 and has hosted nearly 6,000 flights for veterans. Coming up, what a new study shows about how common so-called forever chemicals are in America's tap water. Food and Drug Administration has granted full approval to the Alzheimer's drug Leqembi. It's a landmark decision for the first medicine proven to slow the course of that memory-robbing disease. Full approval prompts the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services to change how it covers the drug, broadening access for up to about 1 million people with early onset Alzheimer's. Without insurance, Leqembi costs more than $26,000 a year. Taking care of your teeth might be good for your gray matter. A study published in Neurology indicates that patients with gum disease and tooth loss are more likely to have brain shrinkage, which can play a role in memory problems and Alzheimer's disease. Researchers found that for people with even mild gum disease, for every 1 tooth lost, the increase in the rate of brain shrinkage equals nearly 1 year of brain aging. With temperatures on the rise, it's important to stay hydrated, but a new study is shedding light on what could be lurking in our tap water at a time when we should be guzzling it up. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten reports.
Water is just water, right? Wrong. According to a new study from the U.S. Geological Survey, drinking water from roughly half of all faucets nationwide likely contain PFAS, commonly referred to as forever chemicals.
PFAS are an acronym for per and polyfluoroalkylated substances.
The synthetic compounds are near impossible to break down. They've been widely used in many non-stick cooking products, various food packaging, clothing, and more. And over time, they've been seeping into the environment, as well as private and public water systems, especially if companies using PFAS deposit them into wastewater.
They don't break down for a really long time. And in terms of some of these in the environment, it could be years to hundreds of years.
And if the chemicals are ingested by people,
it may take 10 years almost to remove half of what you've been exposed to.
They can carry potentially deadly consequences.
It can cause cancer, it can cause immunity problems, it can cause liver problems, it can cause kidney problems.
The study from the U.S. Geological Survey examined water samples from taps in more than 700 different locations. Samples were taken between 2016 and 2021 with higher amounts of PFAS found in cities. Officials hope the results will inspire people to treat their drinking water and have it tested. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
A federal regulator is calling for cannabis companies to stop selling products with packaging closely resembling popular snacks. Look at these. The Federal Trade Commission says 6 companies are using packaging which could trick children into accidentally ingesting Delta-8 THC. That's a psychoactive substance found in hemp. Companies have 15 days to respond with their planned actions. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later in sports, we're going to meet a Parsons, Kansas team making a name for herself as a power lifter.
Well, not a bad Thursday for us today. We did have a lot of clouds during the morning hours, and we did get some light showers across the region, but still not nearly enough rain compared to what we should be getting and also what we need. Nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, every Thursday, our drought tracker updates. So it's updated weekly, and it's drier than what we saw last week, which is not good. So our southern counties, dry, and then the farther northwest you work, the worse it gets. So if we go into the metro, we're in a moderate drought, and then once you get to Pittsburgh, it's a severe drought, and then you can see an extreme drought across our northern counties, so especially Vernon County all the way over to Woodson and Wilson County. So we need rain. Unfortunately, we're not going to get much, if any, over the next 24 hours, and then we'll get some changes in here. All right, mid to upper 70s right now. We're looking at 7th and Range Line, currently outside, sitting at 78. Visibility is sitting at about 10 miles, so beautiful night. We do have a couple random little sprinkles in our far southern counties. Besides that, we're dry, and I think that's what we're going to see as we go through the overnight hours. But thunderstorms booming, eastern parts of Colorado. Sadly, most of these are going to push into central Oklahoma, staying pretty much southwest of the region. Here's why. High pressure to our southwest. Look at the upper level flow. It curls into Oklahoma, and that's where these storms want to go. So let's step through time. Tonight is going to be dry. We'll get some clouds in here late. We're stopping at 6 a.m., sitting into the mid 60s. As we go through the morning hours, a few light showers in our western counties. Everybody else dry as we start to warm through the 70s to near 80 as we get into the afternoon. So here's 3 p.m., lower 80s. Still a few scattered thunderstorms in our western counties. Everybody else dry. But tomorrow night, we'll get another complex that will start to push in. So here's 8:30 in the evening. This should be a little farther north, which would be great. And hopefully this verifies. But 1 a.m., big batch, showers, thunderstorms roll through. We'll start the day on Saturday with thunderstorms. Here's 5:30 in the morning. And then as we go through the day, just a lot of clouds, and temperatures a little bit cooler as we'll only warm up into lower 80s for highs by the time we head into Saturday afternoon. But we definitely need the rain. So if we can get that batch in tomorrow night, we'll get some decent amounts, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, 3/4 of an inch in spots, which would be absolutely fantastic. Day planner for you Friday, a couple random showers, high temp of 87 degrees for us tomorrow afternoon. Let's look at the next 10 days. 87 tomorrow, 82 Saturday, 88 on Sunday. Sunday, a few random morning showers again. And then look at the heat. We soar through the 90s to 100 degrees as we go through next week. So it gets hot.
Yes, it does indeed. We need to get that rain while we can.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Thanks, Chuck. Rain has been popping up all around Kansas in recent days. A lot of Kansas farmers hope the rain will break the ongoing drought and help them with their fall crops. Reporter Cale Chapman talked to a farmer in Sumner County about what the rain means.
With rain falling throughout the area today and potentially throughout the rest of the week, many farmers are hoping that the drought could end.
Hard to get out of a drought in the summer because it's hard to keep up with the evaporation, but we're certainly headed in the right direction.
Tim Turek says this week's rain will make for a better harvest.
The rain we get now, I think, is going to be a big part of helping our corn crop finish up, where there's a lot of good looking milo planted and soybeans.
Agriculture agent Jeff Seiler says this rain came at a great time for corn.
Right now we have corn in our early reproductive stages, which is some of its highest demand for water. So this is just what we needed for it.
Seiler says more timely rain like Wednesday's is important to avoid runoff.
The big thing is timeliness of when it comes. So if we get a big event like this, we're going to have some runoff. So all of the rain that we got through this isn't going to be recognized. The potential of it's not going to be recognized. If we could get an inch of rain a week until we got to harvest, I think we'd be sitting pretty.
With other corn growing areas of the country feeling dry, Turek is hopeful Sumner County could have a big year.
Sumner County, we're not known for corn. Every once in a while we hit a lick, and this looks like it might be the year for it. So maybe that'll heal us weak farmers up a little bit.
While the rain is giving us a positive outlook, we'll have to wait until fall to be for sure.
Coming up, pros and cons of the latest jobs numbers.
New jobs data spooking the markets. I'm Grady Trimble at the White House. I'll have the full story coming up.
The newly launched app Threads is already at the center of a potential legal dispute. Twitter has sent a cease and desist letter to Meta over the app. The letter accuses Meta of stealing Twitter's trade secrets by hiring former Twitter workers to develop what's being called Meta's copycat app. Jobs numbers can be interpreted in a lot of different ways. Is it good news for those seeking employment or bad news? But with this economy, it's important to keep it all in perspective because what's good for one might be bad for the markets and inflation. Fox Business correspondent Grady Trimble explains.
Jobs data from the Labor Department, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and payroll processing company ADP painting a complicated but resilient picture. The Labor Department sharing that applications for jobless claims rose by 12,000 from the previous week. The Bureau of Labor Statistics Job Openings and Labor Turnover Survey showing job openings fell to 9.8 million at the end of May. This following an uptick the month before. Also today, ADP saying a bigger than expected 497,000 new jobs were created last month by private employers. That's the largest increase since February of last year.
Aside from a lot of jobs data, which I say is affected by seasonal adjustments, which I believe are, you're simply just throwing darts there with a lot of what the BLS does in these seasonal adjustments. So I wouldn't read too much into that.
The markets did read into it, though. Stocks sunk, investors fearing the Federal Reserve doesn't like a tight labor market. It wants to see it loosen so wages aren't forced to rise to attract talent. A rise in wages could be the evidence the Fed needs to resume hiking interest rates.
If we continue to get this jobs data and inflation stays sticky in wages, particularly as it has been, we may get more than 2 hikes.
The more closely watched June jobs report from the Labor Department comes out Friday morning. Experts predicting the unemployment rate will inch lower. At the White House, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
Mortgage rates went up again last week to the highest so far this year, an average of 6.81% for a 30-year fixed-rate loan. The rate is 0.1% higher than the week before and 1.5% higher than this time last year. That's according to data from Freddie Mac. Up next, we're going to learn why more than 1,000 people came together at a small Canadian town wearing inflatable dinosaur costumes. Tiny Canadian town rewrote the history books by attempting to break a dinosaur dance party world record. The town of Dundurn, Saskatoon has only about 700 people total, so organizers used social media to spread the word, and it worked, obviously. Folks came from far and wide, and the community was transformed into a massive party with a reported head count of more than 1,100 dinos. That's well above the current Guinness World Record for dressed as dino gatherings, which sits at 253 people. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. In anticipation of the new Barbie movie, a Southeast Kansas library hosted a Barbie-themed event. We're going to check it out. Plus, the annual Mining Day celebrations kicked off in Frontenac, Kansas. With all the anticipation of that new Barbie movie that's about to come out, the town of Arma, Kansas is celebrating. KOAM's Jasmine Knight with the story.
Anything is possible at Arma City Library today. This week for summer reading, the library hosted a Barbie and Ken Bash. Guests were encouraged to dress in their best Barbie-inspired outfits and decorate cupcakes. Everyone involved had a great time embracing their inner Barbie.
I was a big Barbie girl. It's my vibe.
With the new Barbie movie coming out, all the kids were excited. They even shared some of their favorite things about Barbie and Ken.
I like his hair and stuff. His hair, I love that. That's probably my favorite thing about all of them. I love their hair.
Even though many may see Barbie as just a pretty face, the girls learned great life lessons from their favorite character.
How to respect people. She's always kind of creative with her style.
I think it's one of the most important lessons that we can learn from Barbie is that just because you're a girl, that doesn't stop you.
The highly anticipated Barbie movie, releasing July 21st, also had everyone anxious to go see it. In Arma, they're most excited to relive their childhood by seeing their favorites.
See Ken, all those Ken people, and Barbie.
I'm just excited to see, what I grew up with be realized and be real.
Most importantly, everyone in Arma got to unleash their inner sparkle and have cupcakes while doing so.
So today, I got the chance to be reporter Barbie, and Barbie taught me that anything is possible. Reporting in Arma, Jasmine Knight, KOAM News.
Again, that new Barbie movie is going to premiere in theaters in just a couple of weeks on July 21st. Folks in Frontenac, Kansas are celebrating Mining Days. That annual event kicked off today. It features a silent auction, bingo, live music, trivia, and amusement park rides. Mining Day celebrates the town's founding back in 1886, and they honored that history with a Heritage Hall exhibit set up at the town hall.
This is basically the kickoff for it. Tonight we have our Pride Amusement Show with the carnival. We have some vendors, and then of course our Heritage Hall, which you can see behind me, is all on display.
The fun didn't stop today. Mining Days will run through Sunday with events including several street dances, a car cruise, a parade, dog races, a fishing derby, and a medallion hunt. Downtown Joplin was also celebrating today. Several businesses displayed the work of local artists for the first Thursday Art Walk. The Art Walk ranged from photos to paintings and even mosaics made of Legos. The mystery remains who was able to bring a small bag of cocaine into the White House over the weekend. Fox News correspondent Carolyn Shively has the latest from Washington on the investigation.
We're going to get to the bottom to exactly what happened.
The Secret Service ordering DNA and fingerprint testing on the small bag of cocaine that was found inside the White House. The drugs were discovered Sunday inside a cubby where visitors often leave their personal belongings. President Biden and his family were at Camp David at the time. The White House now checking visitor logs, while pointing out the drugs were found in a heavily traveled lobby area.
West Wing visitors come through this particular area.
President Biden ignoring a question about the discovery in the Oval Office Wednesday. Meanwhile, some Republicans are demanding a Secret Service briefing, looking for more details into who the drugs belong to. Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton sending a letter to the Secret Service asking for answers, saying, quote, "If the White House complex is not secure, Congress needs to know the details, as well as your plan to correct any security flaws." 2024 candidates also taking the chance to go after the Biden administration in the wake of the discovery.
I can tell you in Florida, my wife and I, we have a 6'5" and a 3-year-old running around the governor's mansion. So that's not something that we see.
All joking aside, if you really get to the seriousness of this, it's just one more yet another example of two standards of law in this country. Now it shows up in the White House and it's a laughing matter.
Well,
in a certain sense, it's just evidence of a deeper problem.
Politico says a law enforcement source suggests it will be difficult, even with surveillance cameras, to determine who owns the drugs. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
There are new allegations involving the January 6th defendant arrested near former President Barack Obama's D.C. home last week. Prosecutors say Taylor Taranto threatened to blow up his van outside a government facility the day before his arrest. Prosecutors also say Taranto targeted Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland, who led Donald Trump's second impeachment. A bit later, fighting fire with technology.
You've heard of fire trucks, but what about fire drones? I'm Marianne Rafferty with a look at the unique device that could change how we battle residential and wildfires coming up.
Well, of course, not a bad day for us today. We did have a lot of clouds during the morning hours and even a few light scattered showers across the region, but the evening's fantastic out there right now. We are mainly sitting into the middle 70s across the region, which is kind of nice to see. And I really think our temperatures as we go through the overnight hours will drop back into the upper 60s. For overnight lows. Outside right now, it looks pretty good. We're looking at 7th and Range Line, currently sitting at 78, dew point 64. Visibility is fantastic. Not too much going on. We had a few scattered showers in our southern counties, but everybody else is dry. This is ground clutter, but we are tracking some thunderstorms out to the west. These are just getting going. Eastern parts of Colorado, but this is going to produce a lot of severe weather And then it's going to mainly push Oklahoma City and Tulsa, just kind of clipping the area again, which we've seen a lot of over this past week. This is due to high pressure in New Mexico. So look at the upper level winds. They dip into Oklahoma, so the storms follow those arrows and they just miss us. So I don't think we're going to get any rain tonight. And I really think Friday in general, it's going to be fairly dry. Here's 6 a.m., storms to our west, maybe a few showers clipping our western counties. Everybody else just clouds as we go through the day. We do warm into the low to mid 80s for highs, 82 in Nevada, 82 in Miami. You can see thunderstorms late afternoon trying to build our western counties. Then they start coming in a little bit. Here's 8:30, scattered thunderstorms in southeastern Kansas. As we go through the night, hopefully these are going to track right over the area because it will give us good amounts of rain, showers and thunderstorms as we go all the way into Saturday morning. So here's 3 a.m., here's 5:30 in the morning, Saturday. We'll start the day with a few showers, and then I think in general we look pretty good by Saturday afternoon. A little bit cooler. Highs are only going to be into lower 80s. All right, rainfall tonight stays to our west. Tomorrow, not really anything, but tomorrow night, if we can get that batch in here, a lot of areas will pick up 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch, maybe upwards to an inch in spots. So a lot of clouds tomorrow, and then we warm into the mid 80s with some sunshine during the afternoon hours. Let's go into the weekend. Of course, Saturday, morning storms. Sunday, I think most of the rain will stay to our south, but check this out as we move into next week. We go well into the 90s by Monday. May get a complex of rain in here Tuesday, but temperatures keep warming up. A complex of rain on Wednesday, and then near 100 by the middle of next week. So it's really going to heat back up across the area. All right, 87 tomorrow, 82 on Saturday, 88 on Sunday, 92 on Monday, 93 Tuesday, Wednesday 98, 99 Thursday, 100 on Friday. So we do get hot, but boy, we need some rain.
Yes, it'd be nice to get a lot of it and have it be widespread.
It would be.
Thanks, Doug. Tens of millions of Americans are facing sweltering temperatures in what's being called the hottest week for the planet on record. Climate scientists say July 4th was the Earth's warmest day on record. Even with half the planet experiencing winter right now, the average temperature climbed to nearly 63 degrees, and it's not falling. Experts say the climate crisis, combined with El Nino weather patterns and warming temperatures in the Pacific, is pushing new world records. Coming up in sports, the Big 12 Conference releases their preseason poll for this year's upcoming college football season. Plus, a high school sophomore from Parsons, Kansas, is a powerlifting national champion. Brock Baldridge is going to break down her story for us up next.
A high schooler from Parsons, Kansas, has a unique hobby. Autumn Sands is a 3A state powerlifting champion. Sands is entering her sophomore year of school as she continues to pump up her resume and the iron she lifts. Women's powerlifting continues to be a growing trend, but in southeast Kansas, a young girl started as a CrossFit junkie, which evolved into something else.
I started CrossFit when I was 9, and I've been doing CrossFit for about 6 years. And 2 years ago, I decided to join a weightlifting club, Lion Chaser Barbell, to get a little stronger to help with my CrossFit. And I kind of just took off in weightlifting as well.
Autumn was inspired from what she saw from her parents at the gym.
My parents actually came and started working out, and I was like, that looks fun, I want to try that.
The 9-year-old kid from Parsons was just trying to stay out of the way until one day she got noticed by a trainer like a diamond in the rough.
The gym was really full, and we didn't want her taking away space from paying customers. So we just kept saying, go back in the kids' room, go back in the kids' room. But then there was one day there weren't a lot of people here, and she came out and did a few workouts and got noticed by another member who was a trainer and said, I think she has a lot of potential. I'd really like to work with her.
Fast forward 6 years later, and now Autumn is starting to grow into a national figure.
I'm a national champion, and then I won 3A state powerlifting, and I got 16th in the CrossFit Open in the semifinals.
Autumn is set to represent her country in late July, as she is already qualified for the Youth Pan American team for Team USA, which only 2 girls are selected. The small town girl isn't letting go of her dreams and knows she has what it takes to make it to the big stage, no matter where you come from.
It's just really cool. Like, it shows that anyone can do anything, no matter where you're from or where you grew up.
And Autumn has set the state record for power cleaning 200 pounds, along with 635 total pounds of all of her lifts combined. Autumn was tied for first place for the online qualifiers. Later this month, she heads to Michigan for Team USA, where she will represent her town and her country. The Joplin Outlaws are winners of their last 6 games. The Outlaws are currently in first place in the Mink League South. Tonight, the Outlaws open up a road trip looking to make it 7 straight. Joplin hits the road, State Fairgrounds in Sedalia tonight, taking on the Bombers. We're still in progress, but a big third inning by Sedalia really set the Outlaws back tonight. But all of a sudden, the Outlaws have made this a game again. Joplin was down 11-4. Now they only trail 11-9. We'll keep an eye on this game to see if the Outlaws are able to complete the comeback. The Big 12 Conference released their preseason poll for the 2022 or 2023 football season this fall. Members of the media from all 14 schools got their say, and now the votes are officially in. So here it is, the Big 12 preseason poll. At the top of the list are the Texas Longhorns, and are they really back? Well, we'll see this time. Then, the Kansas State Wildcats are number 2. K-State got 14 first-place votes. Then in 3rd place is Oklahoma. 4th place is Texas Tech. 5th is TCU as they round out the top 5. Baylor is in at number 6. Oklahoma State number 7. Central Florida at 8. The Kansas Jayhawks surprised some people that they're down all the way to number 9. Iowa State's at number 10. Then the newcomers of the conference, BYU, Houston, and Cincinnati. Then dead last is the West Virginia Mountaineers. And one final note I want to mention, Patrick Cassidy, who is from Columbus High School. We did a story about him earlier this year. He's a walk-on for the Kansas Jayhawks basketball team. They announced his number will be number 14. So anyone from Columbus, look for number 14 on the court at Allen Fieldhouse this winter.
A lot of fans will, for sure. We'll be right back. 2 firefighters were killed in a cargo ship fire in Newark, New Jersey. Fire broke out last night on a 12-story ship docked in a port, Newark, that was loaded with about 5,000 cars. Officials say the fire started in 6 or 7 cars and then spread to other floors of the ship where the firefighters were trapped. 5 other firefighters were injured. Deaths from residential fires have increased by 8% from 2012 to 2021. That's according to the latest data from the U.S. Fire Administration. Those stats, combined with the fact that wildfire season is underway across much of the West, has engineers looking for new ways to battle deadly blazes and keep people safe. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty reports on the unique fire drone that could provide life-saving relief.
Whether they're residential or wild, fires are powerful and deadly. But engineers in Switzerland hope their fire drone will save lives while gathering critical data about these infernos. While some fire departments are already using drones to drop flame retardant in hard-to-reach places, many aren't built to be near flames.
Normal drones that one can buy are made of plastic, the motors are at the periphery, and the propellers and everything can melt very quickly.
But the fire drone is.
We use aerogel, so it's a polyamide aerogel, which is something that is extremely lightweight and it has a very high heat resistance. We have integrated a CO2 cartridge that can cool down the internals of the drone, where also then the motors are located.
Because of this, the fire drone can fly through flames, lasting in temperatures near 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. It's a prototype, so engineers hope to increase that time in the future. And while the drone is flying through a burning building or forest, cameras are monitoring for people and collecting stats on the flames.
It has a thermal camera and it has an RGB camera, and could have also other sensors such as oxygen and gas sensors, toxicity sensors, and so on, that can then get information on the structure of the environment.
Just like first aid kits are placed around offices and warehouses, in the future, engineers hope to have fire drones in similar locations ready to go in case of an emergency. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Coming up, we're going to meet a farmer in Missouri who's showing his support for Taylor Swift as she gets ready to perform in Kansas City tomorrow. Swifties in the Kansas City area are showing their support for the mega pop star ahead of her concerts there tomorrow and Saturday. One KC area farmer is welcoming the singer in a very special way and with a message you can see only from the skies above. Reporter Matt Evans has that story.
Last week, it was a combine harvesting wheat in this Ray County field. And today, it's Rob Stouffer driving around his Bobcat.
We're trying to get this all created in one day.
Finding a way to blend art and science.
I've been doing this for 23 years, and there is a level of craftsmanship.
It also takes a team watching from the skies.
I think you can go farther forward.
They were the ones that convinced Rob to take on this project in the first place.
The team kind of came up with this concept probably about 6 weeks ago. I said, no, I don't want to do this, and here we are.
Because when it's Taylor Swift coming to town, there's no choice. You have to roll out more than a welcome mat.
So we kind of think this is the quintessential welcome to the Midwest and to the heartland.
By this afternoon, he'd already etched KC welcomes Taylor into the ground and is now working on her portrait until it eventually looks like this.
We're just here to celebrate with the city and with the event. It really is Taylor Swift coming to town. It is a phenomenon, and we're just one play small part of it.
Quite a welcome. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a panda in Taiwan celebrating its 10th birthday. Let's make it a great tomorrow.